Last time we started answering a question that surprisingly does not get asked often. Can you buy a luxury car in Uganda without buying yourself years of financial stress? Many people assume the answer is simple. Luxury means expensive maintenance. Luxury means complicated repairs. Luxury means becoming friends with your mechanic. But in our previous episode, we discovered that this is not always true. After considering the number of inspections I've done, owner experiences, mechanic knowledge, part availability, and the vehicles that continue performing on Ugandan roads, several luxury SUVs stood out. The Lexus RX 350, the Toyota Prado 150, the Land Cruiser 200, and the Lexus LX 570. They are not necessarily the fastest or the most impressive SUVs in their class. No. They earned their place because they continued making sense after excitement, past the excitement of buying. And at the end of that episode, I made a promise. I said I would leave the SUVs behind and move into executive sedans. Now, today, we are keeping that promise. Executive sedans occupy an interesting position in Uganda. They appeal to business owners, professionals, senior executives, government officials, and buyers who want comfort and presence without driving an SUV. I think I'd be one of them. But this category can be very deceptive. Do you know why? Because some executive sedans age gracefully. Others look affordable when in the bond, then introduce themselves properly after you have bought them. So today, we are asking the same question we asked in part 1. And if you have not seen part 1, this is part 1. Which executive sedans have genuinely proved themselves in Uganda? Not simply when they are new. Omusajja n'agamba Benz eyo wagijjira mu bonde emyaka 3 egisooka ebannamu. Emyaka 3 egisooka ginyuma. So we are not answering that question. We are not using overseas reliability surveys. We are not using consumer reports. We are basing on data that comes after years of use. Aging of electronics, Ugandan roads, local fuel, availability of mechanics and parts. You get, and of course the realities of finding spare parts in Nairobi or in Kampala. Let us begin with one of the safest places to start. Toyota Kulauni. Now, of course, some of you guys think the Mark X is a luxury vehicle, but now, if someone asked me to recommend one executive sedan that balances comfort, prestige, and of course manageable ownership in Uganda, the Toyota Crown would be my first answer. Always. Not the Mark X. Mark X is below. Now, some people will immediately object. Arthur! Is the Crown really luxury? Yes, it is luxury. If you have not driven it, then maybe you don't know. Others will ask why I have not started with the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, S-Class, BMW 5 Series. But I want you to remember, we are not ranking cars by badge recognition. We are asking which executive sedans continue serving their owners reliably in Uganda, even when they are old. And the Crown has built a very strong case here. Why? Why do I say the Crown is number 1? The Crown has served as one of Toyota's most important executive cars for decades. It has been used by business leaders world over. Today, no one in Uganda. Abasajja abagagga ebedda baavuganga Crown ezo. Taxi operators etugende Germany, government departments, police agencies, and private owners who value comfort without unnecessary drama. Manyi Benz eyo nga yakozeeko katemba. Muganda ebimoroka ebyo BMW. You get it? That tells you something about its original purpose. This was not a car designed only to look impressive in the showroom. It was designed to spend years working. Toyota's approach with the Crown has usually been evolutionary. Rather than reinventing everything with each generation, what they do is they bring familiar engines and improve them a little. They improve comfort, they improve the technology, and they preserve the engineering principles that already work. Ochagira, continuous improvement. You get the conservative development of cars, of the technology, may not always create the most exciting car, but it often creates a very dependable one. When we talk about engines, for example, many crowns in Uganda use the same engines as the Mark X. They use the same engines as the Camry. They come with the 4GR, that's very popular. That's the 2.5. They come with the 3GR, and sometimes they come with the 2GR. You get 2GR, I think that's a hybrid version. There is a hybrid crown that I reviewed on the channel. You remember that? Now, of course, the engines come with a little bit of complication. If you don't know how to maintain it, don't give it a good fuel. You get, owners should pay attention to oil quality, cooling system condition, fuel system performance. Pay attention to those things. Of course, carbon buildup with high mileages, doing bad oil and bad fuels. When properly maintained, they have demonstrated very strong durability. Most of the crown problems that you will encounter will not be catastrophic internal engine. Never. Odaba market sitef era omuntu bwata engine ya 4GR, 2GR or 3GR aba mwononyi. These the common age related issues will be engine mountings, suspension bushes, the bearings, ignition coils, water pump, minor oil slippage, shock absorbers. But they're understandable repairs, especially comfortable. Owning a crown, a Toyota Crown, is different from owning a car whose engine, gearbox, electronic system repeatedly fail. Many Crown models also use the 6-speed automatic transmission. CCVT automatic. Ate mumanyi emoroka za Toyota automatic itizifa nebo utakola service emyaka 20. They perform well. The transmissions are very good. The last part matters a lot. Some owners hear that Toyota gearboxes are reliable. They interpret as permission to never maintain them. Even a strong gearbox can be damaged. Neglected leaks into oil are leaking. Overheating. Or years of abusive driving. Reliability reduces. It does not remove responsibility. Probably the other thing that we need to think about is parts availability and local support. The parts Crown shares some of the parts with the Mark X. Sharing, they are very easy to source. Atete bifa. But mechanical budget, it's Toyota. But mechanical budget, sense of one no solo kubufuna. Osegera, mechanically, I think Toyota and Lexus. Zina ba mechanical one kampara bazitegera, and they have seen them enough. They have diagnosed them enough. And that confidence matters. There is a difference between a car that is expensive because it belongs to a premium category and one that becomes expensive because every repair is an experiment. The Crown usually belongs to the category area source. Now, of course, the verdict is the Toyota Crown is not the most exciting executive sedan in its category. A BMW may handle better on the road. A Mercedes may actually carry more prestige. A Lexus may offer richer refinement. But one thing I can tell you is that very few sedans combine Toyota familiarity, rear-wheel drive comfort, strong build quality, reasonable parts, you get, and long-term durability when you have replaced the parts. It's the executive sedan I would recommend to a buyer who wants luxury but still wants to sleep peacefully, even if he or she is a first-time car buyer. From dusty roads to dreams we patrol. The Lexus GS. It's not okay. It sits in an interesting position. You see, the Toyota Crown is designed primarily around comfort and executive duty. The Lexus GS adds more driver involvement. It is the executive sedan for someone who wants refinement, but still wants the car to feel alive. You see, Lexus says Omuziraba. GS, it competes with cars like the BMW 5 Series, It competes with the Mercedes-Benz E-Class, the Audi A6. But Lexus's approach to this in this category is actually different. Rather than trying to create the most technologically advanced car, the company built around Toyota's established engineering. Mujimanyi, Toyota is very simple. They added better materials. They added more sound insulation. They created sharper handling and stronger performance. The result is a car that feels more special than the ordinary Toyota, because Lexus is not a Toyota. It's Toyota improved, depending on the generation, obviously. The thing that makes the Lexus GS even better is the fact that it has the Mark X engines. Gomanja kitegeeza okuvuga emmotoka nga ya masavu ng'esinga Crown naye ng'ovuga engine ya Mark X. You'll find the 4GR, 3GR, 2GR. Yes, and later versions of the 2GR family kuba zo zikati ziba zifuuse modern. These engines, the 4GR, 3GR, 2GR, they offer a strong combination of performance and durability. They are not immune to aging, that I can tell you. Zirwala, zikowa, the cooling system esobola okuwayaringa, mounting zisobola okufa, ignition coil zifa, ojja kukyusa pulaga, seals ziriikinga. Suspension components eventually require replacement. But the failure pattern is very familiar because eringa ya Mark X. The predictability is one of its greatest strengths, because fena tumanyi Mark X bwefa kano kalike era ne bamakanika banakitegeera technology oba namanyi. But of course now the driving experience is one of the strength that the GS has over the other Toyota brands. The GS is more engaging than more people expect from Lexus. The steering is more direct than the Crown. Yeah, the chassis feels like it's planted. The rear wheel drive gives the car a balance of character, and the suspension manages to deliver comfort without making the car feel disconnected from the road. Lexus zigumira abazivuzeeko bobamanyi. This is where comparison with BMW is unavoidable. A good BMW 5 Series may still provide sharper steering and more athletic driving experience. But the GS answers with easier long-time ownership. Nti joko mwokurwa nayo BMW sente zegenda okukulya ate Lexus tegenda kuzikulya. It gives you a lot of enjoyment, but without demanding the same tolerance for complex repairs and special diagnoses, special dependence on mechanics. You get? And it doesn't make the BMW bad. It simply makes the GS better. That's why I recommend the GS. Who should buy the GS? And the GS obviously suits someone who finds the Crown too formal, but still wants the reassurance of the Toyota Lexus engineering. It gives you confidence on the highway and enough performance to remind you that an executive sedan doesn't always have to feel like an office printer. So the Toyota Crown is safer than the GS because the Lexus GS ebintu ebichuka na dada in suspension bichukira dada because it's a Lexus. But the Lexus is more engaging. Toyota Crown, conservative. Lexus, engaging. It combines the strong engines that we already know. It gives you durable construction from Toyota, but it gives you driver-focused driving and respectable local support. It does not attract attention by shouting, but it earns attention when you drive it. The LS, the Lexus LS. Yes, the Lexus LS. You see, the Crown and the GS compete in the executive category. The LS was built to challenge Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Discussion one echukamu etya. You see, the Crown and the GS were executive GS. It is now in a category. But you see, the LS was built to compete with the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, but BMW 7 Series, Audi A8. They're extremely expensive, purchased by senior executives, diplomats, company presidents, and people who want the highest level of comfort availability. But years later, depreciation brings them within reach of buyers who could never have afforded them new. You get? And that creates a dangerous temptation. You see, a flagship luxury car may become cheap to buy. It does not become cheap to maintain. It does not become cheap to own. The LS established Lexus as a serious global luxury brand, as a serious global luxury manufacturer. Earlier generations, if you look at the cars they came before, were used engines like the 1UZ, the 3UZ. Later models introduced the 1UR and the hybrid configurations using the 2UR family. Now, these V8 engines are known for exceptional smoothness. A healthy LS idles so quietly that you may need to check the rev counter to confirm that it's running. It's the same thing has been happening with the Mark X. Mark X mubasanganga namu esika. Bwabali nnyo katono asobola okuyitako n'otamanya. Ne mu crown bwe kine ate mweno LS. Ate kirala nnyo. You get? So refinement is only part of the story. The LS earned respect because its engines have also demonstrated. What am I saying? Emoroka yasise nkuminya engine yasise egenda kufaati. They never really die. Ate olwokuba the engine is very smooth, ne vibration ebeera ntono, the vibration is very minimal. Era if you found even those guys that are driving luxury sedans as S-class, nabo baliwo kukanika mounting. Okujjako nga akubye mbinya. And also probably because the people that buy these cars are rich, they live in rich neighborhoods, very smooth roads. Tebatera kutta bintu ebyo. Naye ng'era bijja kufa age-related. The cooling system, yeah. The mounting ejja kuchapinga over time because of the heat. Naye ng'ejja sigala nga maanyi. Now, let's talk about the comfort. The LS was designed to isolate occupants from the noise. Obeere mulingo olinga ase, olaba Yesu bwe yatambulira ku mazzi. Naye Yesu yeeyagala. Akintu kyokka Yesu yafuna obubi mu nsi. Kubanga gw'ovanga ku muntu agenda mu katale n'akasuka ebintu by'abantu n'avaayo nga tebyamukutteko. Ate ng'akimanyi bagenda mukwatako naye nga pulani yagikola ne kitaawe. Yesu yeeyagala. Kati si baagikola ng'olina ogitula muli obeere ng'oseeya buseeyeeyo. The suspension, yeah, is tuned to absorb road imperfections without disturbing passengers. The cabin has extensive sound insulation. Vitize ngombe ita n'ojuga naye mu LS osobola obutawulira yadde akaalo osobola naye ng'oli ojja biwulira kukerere we Uganda toyinza butawulira. And of course the power delivery is smooth rather than aggressive. A well-maintained example can still feel deeply luxurious 20 years later. Nga bagivuze emyaka 10 wano e Kampala naye ng'era bw'ogituulamu owulira nti maanyi. That is difficult to achieve. BMW ez'emyaka 20 zaatuula baazitema. S-class zimaze emyaka 20 ne bannyinizo bazitanga nnyinza ogivuga ofuluma ekikomera naye tadda. Eyinza ofiira mu gate ate zizitowa tezisindikika. You get it? So they remain impressive even years later. And obviously you guys already know that Toyota mechanics can fix Lexus. The parts of the Lexuses are available. Weziri. Ochitegeera, they are more comfortable than the Crown or than the GS. Now, when we talk about the LS, I want us to take one maintenance reality in our heads. Because nange nali agadde ovuga LS. But the LS needs more discipline. It's a class above the Crown. It's a class above the GS. Tires are larger. Mipira jirako emipira nga minenemu. And because of that, the wheels, definitely the wheels. Hub ziba za bei. Brakes ziba za bei. Suspension parts cost a little bit more. And depending on what specification, ezimu zijana air suspension. Don't buy the ones that have air suspension, yeah? They can have adaptive dampers because remember bagenda kugikola ngeri very comfortable. Some of them have power operated doors nadala ez'emabega. They have electric seats abana balemegiwa mazzi. They have advanced climate control. And guys, each feature that comes with this car, yeah, improves the experience. But each feature is also another component that may eventually require maintenance or that might eventually fail. That is why an LS should never be bought simply because the asking price looks attractive. Lexus LS $1,15,000. Just know. Na amafuta boroke zigira mu yingini. Ujezisanga ngiri mu yingini yasise 14 zibanya lusavu. 15 37. You get? So you need to understand that the price cannot determine access to the car. Your maintenance budget determines whether you can keep it functional as a Lexus. Katugenda okugibalabala mu olumu etuse ne Mercedes Benz electronics tezirabika because teri agenda zireta. Lexus zirimu meka mu Uganda. And of course even interior parts nsemaka famaika kamenyi sitoina ogenda kajja. That's why for the people that have tried to buy the Toyota Crowns, for example, ojasanga famaika nga yamenyeka yennaye naye nga toyina womujja. The same thing will apply with the LS. Now, obviously, the other thing that we need to think about is the resale value. Depreciation. Panenge moroka ezo zisala sente. Ate, moroka eyo giraba. Tesala sente because mbi. Esala sente because ya beyo kumaintaininga. It's a Toyota. But just think. You buy a car, the brakes are expensive. Suspension, the tires are huge. You get cooling problems will come. And that's where it becomes expensive. Regardless of whatever is happening with the Lexus, I need you to understand that the Lexus LS is a choice for someone that wants flagship comfort. Nayenga achayagara oburungi wa Toyota. You see Toyota because very easy engineering. You need to understand that it's not cheap to maintain. And it's not suitable for someone that is stretching the kamane. Boba said zigule moroke nga zigenda kusumbwa. Ateza mafuta zijja kusumbwa nnyo. But if you compare it to many flagship cars that are aging right now, it offers an unusually strong balance between sophistication and durability. The LS proves that an old luxury car can remain special, but only when the owner respects what it's built to be. You're probably wondering whether we have forgotten Germany. Germany. We have discussed the Crown. We have talked about the GS. We have talked about the LS. Yeah? Now, you're obviously saying some of the world's most famous executive sedans come from Mercedes Benz, BMW, and Audi. So why have they not dominated this episode? It's not because they are bad cars. I want to point out they are very nice cars. I would love to drive myself a BMW one of these days. In so many ways, they're actually better than the cars I've listed. BMW produces very good executive sedans with exceptional steering and chassis balance. Mercedes-Benz has mastered ride comfort. They have prestige and refinement. Audi has frequently led the category in cabin design, technology, and the understood elegance. But this series is not only about how a car performs when everything is okay. It's about what happens when the car ages in Uganda. Yes, ni moro ketanso kaddi we Uganda wano obango jiguze nkadde. Now here are the models that deserve respect. One war Mercedes-Benz W212. That E-Class, it deserves serious consideration. If you find a well-maintained E-Class W212, zenkubulira ojja kumanya nti Sedans je ziri mu nsi eziwamba. Wana Benz ezisinga ffe zetulaba ne Kampala tusinga kulaba zi C-Class. Kate waliwo BMW zetatera kulaba BMW 5 Series F10. Nzogerako nga nzikyano zitya kubanga ziri mu loka masavu. Osegira. But when you're buying these cars, engine choice, maintenance history, diagnostic inspection, be very critical. Audi Bagita S6. It combines high quality cabin. Banange wotura mu Audi no garawo bulungi oti ovuge moroka ngolinga ali mu nnyonyi. They have very strong presence. They have impressive technology. Na ye ojja kumanya nti engeri gye bakola suspension ye moroka ezwe, engeri gye bakola ebintu by'omu masanyalazi. Bw'osanga emmoroka eyo nga tebaagikanika bulungi mu Uganda, it can be very costly to restore. So the common lesson is simple, guys. With German cars, with German executive sedans, buying the right individual unit matters even more than choosing the right model. Mu Germany si bya model S6 eyo W212 oba olonze the 5 series F10 esoso nosobola ogulayo najjo olabye. Buying the right individual one is more important because a properly maintained German car esobola okuwangana nesinga ne Crown if it's properly maintained. But finding that good example is hard. It requires greater patience. olina okunoonya mpola topapa si bino byoyingira bondi nogaa njagala gula W212 n'oyingira bampeeyo. You need olaba tunoonya emmoroka, we look for cars for an entire day. Kate bwe tuba tunoonya emmoroka eza Germany, you need to have a very detailed inspection, access to specialists. Era nze abantu bwe tuba tugula emmoroka za Germany sitambula na mechanic omu. I go with at least 2 mechanics. Each of the mechanics looking at over the shoulders of the other, just to make sure that one is not making a mistake. You need to have knowledge, a realistic repair budget, and of course we shall examine these cars properly in the final episode of this series. But for now, the Japanese options lead because they remain very easy to recommend. They are easier to recommend to an average Ugandan. Because the average luxury car buyer in Uganda, average, I'm talking about average, si mugagga nnyo to the extent agenda bawo ne million 10 singa mga breach zetaga million 7 agenda kuzifuna. So as we end this video, I want you to understand how the series have been going. This is the second part while we search for Uganda's most reliable luxury vehicles. Last time we talked about, if you remember, we talked about SUVs. Today we have looked at executive sedans. And if there is one lesson to take from both of these videos, it's this: luxury is not determined only by the badge on the bonnet. Neither is reliability. A dependable luxury vehicle is one that continues giving its owner confidence as it ages. One that can be diagnosed correctly and easily. One that has mechanics, a lot of mechanics understanding it. One whose parts do not leave it packed for a very long time. And one whose maintenance demands remain realistic for the person who owns it. And most importantly, its ownership experience should still resemble the dream the person had as they were trying to buy it. In our next episode, we will turn our attention to Europe. We will ask another important question: which European luxury cars genuinely make sense in Uganda? Is our Europe? We will look more closely at Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi, and other European models. And of course, I will also talk about those that have taught Ugandans the genuine lesson, financial lesson. Until then, guys, drive safely, buy wisely, and remember, 5th September is the Love for Cars convention. We'll be launching our second edition of the Love of Cars magazine, and we're going to have a lot of things for you to experience and learn on that day. Until next time.